Welcome to Film Phreeks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
Eddie Williams.
And tonight we're going to be doing another audio review of a film that's got quite a lot of interesting trailers after when I was first hearing about it. And that is Crawl, which is directed by Alexandre Aja and stars Kaya Scodelario and Barry Pepper. And this movie...
And it's written by Sam Raimi, too. Or produced by him.
Yeah, produced by Sam Raimi. And in this film, we deal with a small town in Florida that's going through a big hurricane for the season. And we deal with this girl named Haley who is trying to go look to go to her dad's house. And she gets caught up in this hurricane that happened. Yeah. She gets caught up.
She notices, she gets word that her father's missing. So she goes and checks on his whereabouts, but unfortunately she's stuck in a hurricane down there, and she ends up finding him, and it becomes a survival.
Yeah, pretty much they have to survive from not only the hurricane, but also alligators, which come through the crawl space that they both end up getting trapped in. Now, here's some little backstory. Now, this film was directed by Alexandre Aja, who you may remember, he's directed such really great movies that I enjoyed, who's known in the horror industry as the director of High Tension, which was a film that came out in France back in 2003, which is that movie where you got that girl who is trying to survive from this killer with that weird circular saw or whatever. And then you also had the remake of Hills Have Eyes from 2006, which I fucking loved. In fact, I consider that in a slight way. I kind of put it a little bit above the original.
Oh, it is above the original, actually, in my opinion. You know, that's considered one of the most solid remakes we've had.
Yeah, and then he also directed...
did Don't Breathe with Sam Raimi.
No, that was a different director. He did Piranha 3D.
Yeah,
he did Piranha 3D in 2010. Okay. In 2010, he did the remake of Piranha 3D, which I thought was a really fun dive into with that movie. And in fact, when I was seeing the trailers to this, it was kind of making me wonder if, you know, it seems like he fits in that kind of category with underwater creatures. Features.
Yeah, features, yeah. He did great in Piranha 3D. I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of 3D, Double D, but I actually fucking love the first movie.
Yeah,
it's a fun creature feature.
Yeah, and then he also wrote the
He actually was supposed to do there was a movie Sam Raimi did. I know we're going off topic a little bit here, but I actually found a did you know fact. Sam Raimi did like a ghost movie years ago. I forgot what it was.
I think
Kristen Stewart or somewhere, or somebody that looks like her.
You talking about Drag Me to Hell?
Yeah, that movie was actually supposed to be directed by Aja, but he actually chose another movie over him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think he chose because at the time Sam Raimi was doing that. He also did that movie Mirrors, which came out in 2008.
Well, no, that's what it was. It was whatever was coming out the same year as Hills Have Eyes. He had Wes Craven come up to him, and then he had Sam Raimi come up to him, and he chose Wes Craven, Hills Have Eyes, over Sam Raimi.
That's right. Yeah. And
that was what it was.
Yeah, and then he also wrote the remake of Maniac, which I thought was a pretty solid one. So the guy is known for doing like a lot of remakes of films, but he's also dived into other movies like Horns and things like that. And with this one coming out, it got me curious because it's been a very long time. In fact, almost 20 years since we've seen like a big live action theatrical alligator film. The last one that comes to mind was 20 years ago when we had Lake Placid that came out.
Which I still love to this day. It's a fun movie. Not to say much about the crazy crossover sequels they fucking started doing with, but the first movie was a big budget film.
Yeah.
And I still, to this day, like to go back to it. It's a pretty good one. But yeah, you're right. You know, unlike shark movies, which, you know, we're starting to see this new trend with these creature features making a big comeback, which in a good way, because you had The Shallows, the Meg, you know, both of them were pretty good.
Yeah, and then you have this one, which I'm glad to see that they're making a comeback because it does show that there is still talent involved with making these kind of films. And from the previews, what really got me interested was the whole fact that majority of the film was pretty much taking place in this house where they're in this crawl space, and they have to pretty much survive, kind of like The Shallows, where you're all in just one setting, basically.
The survivor aspect, and I've always been more of a bigger fan of alligators than I am sharks, to be honest with you. And I think it has a lot to do with shark movies being very oversaturated we're getting like fucking 10 of them a year now these days.
Yeah.
Or maybe even more than that. But I've always wanted to see a change, and I noticed that alligators, they don't really go too often. Which, by the way, since we're on the topic of talking about other alligator films, there was also one I really enjoyed way back in the '79, I think it was, or '80, called Alligator. That was really good.
Yeah. And
to be honest with you, the effects still hold up to this day, and it's probably the most realistic effects out of both of these movies, Lake Placid and the one we're about to talk about.
That's fine. I mean, I'll probably check it out sometime.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fucking creepy.
I think
creepy.
Yeah, I've heard that movie actually was, got quite a following.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I caught that on Cinemax years ago, and it also was one of the few movies in the '80s that actually showed a kid getting killed.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean.
But anyways. Yeah.
But anyway,
this movie.
Yeah, back to Crawl. This is a film that, after upon seeing the movie, I can say it was quite a lot of fun. Like, it had some problems here and there, but overall, like, this is to me is the ideal summer movie that we need from now on with these type of like creature features. They're always best in the summertime with these, and
they are the best in the summertime. And after upon seeing it myself, I thought it was pretty entertaining. It was good. I will say that, I might nitpick quite a bit here, but overall, I still enjoy the movie.
Yeah, and so to get my pros out of the way, the main girl in the film who plays our lead, Kaya Scodelario, I thought she was great in this movie, and what's interesting about her was that, if you remember her, she was also the girl that was from the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie that came out. And what I appreciate about her character in this was that she actually kind of goes through kind of a story arc in this for her character, because we actually see
you're seeing a story arc of a character in a creature feature. You don't ever get that.
Yeah, because
so it was quite nice seeing a more dark story, kind of like a deep, darker story where they kind of go back on. But yeah, it's pretty interesting writing.
Yeah, because they actually showed, well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but basically it involves her, having to swim. And she has to find her courage with it, basically. And what I also appreciated with this movie, too, is not only was she great, but it was also great to see Barry Pepper again, because I haven't seen him in a movie in a long time, and it's great that he's still getting roles. Like,
you know what? I didn't even notice him in the fucking trailers.
I did, but I could barely make out where he was.
I saw the opening sequence with his face without the beard. I was like, holy shit, I haven't seen that dude in forever.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's the sniper from Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah, and but yeah, he was great too, and I like their dynamic they have together, him and his daughter. I thought they worked well off each other.
Their daughters.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like the whole father-daughter survival thing instead of friends.
Yeah.
I kind of like the it makes the story more intense, because I think that in a situation, if you lost your mom, dad, or your kid, it's more devastating than you losing a friend. Not saying that's a bad thing. Friends are mean to least. It's nice to see that different intensity.
Yeah, exactly. And what I also appreciate too was when there actually does get some to get some of the more like story elements. I like the way that the film goes, where the survival rate just keeps up in the game each time that they have to go through the crawl space, having to work their way up. Like the director really knows how to pull not only tension in with the alligator scenes, but also like there are certain things that just come out of nowhere. Like before all this shit goes down, you see a fucking tree come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the best when it comes to tension and really on the edge of your seats. This is probably the first creature feature film I saw that had me like really scratching and bite my nails, because I don't really do that in creature features. You kind of like, you're just like, oh, good, they got that guy, or cool, that was bad. That's cool, you got her. But this one, I was really fucking like pretty fucking worried, and I think it has a lot to do with how well the writing is with this film, where you actually think the director did so well and the writing is so good, you actually almost think that, oh shit, we might actually lose these characters in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I love the way they pulled that in, especially because, not to spoil anything, but there's actually more to it than just them two. Like, that's the other thing I got to praise too the most, is that the actual way they go with the brutality in this, I thought was pretty fucking fascinating. Especially,
yes, I am glad they did a fucking creature feature that had balls to give us something gruesome and brutality on the brutality one. Because creature features, for the most part, other than Piranha 3D, I noticed a lot of them are either trying to channel more for kid, for everybody, like the Meg did, or they promote themselves as like a teenage slasher film. Not to fucking forget that Shark Night piece of shit, but it was glad to finally see them, say, you know what, let's fucking really go brutal this time. Because man, oh man, there's some fucking death scenes in this that actually surprised me. I was like, God damn, that's painful.
yeah, definitely, man. And I got to give credit, for the most part, I at least also I thought that the alligators blended well with the scenes, with the hurricane and, when the actual attacks happen. I thought they actually blended well. When they're underwater, I think those are the scenes that work well as far as the effects.
Actually, yeah, I will say underwater on the looks. When we get to the looks, I'm going to be 50-50 on. And the water scenes are like the coolest part, but what makes the film even better with the alligators are when they're kind of blending in, like with the darkness, like the Shake does in Halloween. I like that.
I do too.
Because you don't even know where they're at. You hear them kind of like breathing and growling. It brings more tension than actually seeing them come out and doing shit to you. Even though I still like them coming out and doing stuff to the people, it's just like I like that atmosphere of like you hear them, but you don't know where they're at.
Yeah, and I also got to give credit to this.
That's why I really got into the basement scene.
Oh, I did too, especially when they're having to go through the pipes and shit, and they have to find like distractions in order to get away. And what's interesting was there's actually other parts where that I thought was kind of like unpredictable. Like, not going to go into spoilers, but let's just say that when it gets near the end, they actually kind of subverted my expectations, and the film kind of goes into a different territory than where I thought it would. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we're going here now, ain't we? So, but I also got to give credit to the cinematography.
I will tell you right now, that fucking dad goes through some shit.
Oh, yeah, he does.
I've never seen one man single-handedly go through so much fucking gruesome shit and got as far as he did.
Oh, yeah, dude.
In a film. I was like, by the end, I was like, damn, this motherfucker done croaked 3 times.
Yeah.
Got torn to fucking shreds and still survived. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, what is this dude, Rambo?
Yeah. I was like, shit. I mean, it seems like he'd take on Thanos.
I know, at this point, it's like, damn, fuck it. Next thing you know, he's going to get his head coming off. His head's going to walk around and still be alive.
Yeah. But
I'm like, damn, this motherfucker's going through everything. I didn't even think he'd have a body left by the end of the movie. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and then the other thing, too, I got to admit, is that the film also tackles into some, like, the cinematography was my other biggest praise, because for the most part, when we see the way the hurricane blends in with the scenes and stuff, I mean, minus a couple of CGI issues here and there, I thought that for the most part, it dug into the atmosphere pretty well.
It did. I'm going to be 50-50. I'm going to bring up 2 flaws I do have with it, or 3 maybe. But for when it's in the background and stuff, it looks a lot better. It does look good. I did see a film last year that dealt with hurricane as its plot, and it's called Hurricane Heist. Now, you see something like that, and then you see this, then you're like, oh, that's a major upgrade.
Yeah. So
when it comes to hurricanes. But there is still some issues I have, and I feel like Hollywood it doesn't feel like they're there yet and capturing hurricanes perfectly yet. But it's still doable.
Yeah, but if I had like
but the cinematography of like the water and the dark bleak of the film, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I did too. Now I do have just a couple of minor cons here and there, but this is mainly due on some of the like technical aspects of it. Yeah, there were some noticeable CGI parts, like when you see the alligators outside of the water, it is very noticeable. Like especially this part where you see like the girl.
So the thing that really hurts is whenever they're out of water and they're doing their little fast run.
Yeah.
It starts really looking bad.
Yeah.
And if it looks bad now, you know it's not going to age very well in time. and that was a problem. But I also had a problem with some of the CGI in the Hurricane every once in a while. But like I said, it was an upgrade from Hurricane Heist. But I feel like there's a couple problems with it as well. And I feel like if you want to get real nitpicky, and it's kind of hard to, if you know about hurricanes, it's kind of hard to ignore it. But on a scientific standpoint, there were some issues I had with the film, with the hurricane. Like, there were scenes where, first of all, they go for a Category 5, which is the strongest hurricane known on Earth. You can't go any bigger than that.
Yeah.
And I don't see these people being able to stand within the wind force of that. Not to mention the houses would have been flattened. It would have been leveled. When they're outside, their hair ain't blowing. Bothers me. It's just, I feel like while it makes sense to put them both in film, I do feel like sometimes the hurricane and the alligator storyline clashes a little bit, because you want them to pay attention more to the alligator part, and then the hurricane part in the background, you start noticing, okay, well, the hurricane's taking place. Why in the basement do I see where the little holes where the water's pouring in? Why am I hearing wind blowing? Why am I seeing it really bright outside?
Yeah.
And then, you're not hearing the winds, and then, like I said, the hair blowing thing, when they're outside, it's like, why are their hair not blowing out?
Yeah.
It's like, really, I think they were shooting real high when they said Category 5. Maybe should have went for like a more lower category, and it would have been more believable on the wind structure. Or maybe they could have done the story where, like, she realized her dad was stuck in the hurricane and it's over with, and she's got to get down there, because floods and all that stuff, all the devastation stays for months. So we could have done that.
Yeah, I got you.
Because I was more interested in just the alligator part. I mean, it's a cool touch with the hurricane part, but you get what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you try to you want two things, and sometimes they can, they clash. You're like, which one should we pay attention more?
Yeah. But overall, though, I will say that for the most part, even though
any other ones, like
just a minor nitpick. I mean, it's not really to do with the movie itself. It's just kind of like what could have been a little attached on. Supposedly I did hear there was possibly an alternate ending that they shot, which I think probably would have gave a more like interesting closure to the film, because the film, even though it ends like it should, it's just that it kind of ends like kind of too soon, and the movie is pretty fucking short. Like, this movie is very, very short. So I kind of
it's a creature feature, and I think the director was really worried about overly doing it. So they got, it was kind of like that worry. It's like, okay, let's just go with that standard ending where you kind of know who's going to survive the end.
Yeah, but we won't spoil what happens. But I just felt like, it could have gave a little more. You could have spiced things up a little better. But I get what they were going for.
Like, all right, if you don't know, I'm not going to spoil it, but maybe that other ending would have been more interesting, because that would have been something you would not saw coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Versus the standard, closure that you get in these films, which, you kind of like, okay, they want that. Not bad, cool.
Yeah.
I kind of like predicted that in a way, I guess.
Yeah, but overall, though, I still
like you said. Other than that, I mean, there ain't really much I could really tear into. Really, it's a pretty good film, entertaining. Definitely a good watch. I'm hoping these creature features keep on doing good, because ever since The Shallows, it just seems like these creature features are actually really good now.
They are, yeah.
I enjoyed The Meg last year.
I did too.
And The Shallows, I enjoyed, and then I enjoyed this. Like, damn, I'm actually really getting into these.
Yeah, exactly.
Creature features.
So with that being said, the movie does have its entertainment, and minus a couple things here and they could have worked on, I still overall enjoyed it. And with that, I'm going to go with probably like a low, very extremely low, like compelling grade on the Film Phreeks community.
Yeah, I started thinking real hard. I will say it's kind of, I'll go. What the hell? I'll go with an extremely low compelling grade as well. I was almost going to go average Joe, but nah. I mean, I still think it's got rewatchability to it. So yeah, low compelling grade.
Fair enough. For those of you who have also seen Crawl, let us know in the comments below of what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel. And check us out on our reviews here and our website at filmphreaks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.